Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in this video I am going to be showing you how to make authentic oha soup, like ofe oha soup. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so without further ado, let's get into it. So these are all the ingredients I am going to be using. I am going to talk about them one after the other. So this is my cocoyam. I've boiled it and I blended it. If you don't have a blender, you can easily just pound it. That's what the raw one looks like. And these are my proteins. Here we have pomo, beef, and assorted. And the next thing is my stockfish, my oporoko. So I'm going to be using some flesh and some head of oporoko. Then the next thing I'm going to be showing you is my crayfish, though it's not grounded yet, but I'm going to proceed to blend that later. Then the next on the agenda is my oha leaf. This is what oha leaf looks like for those that don't know what it looks like. And then I'm also going to be mixing it with some uziza leaf just to give it some more flavor and aroma. Then the next thing is my ogiri, and this is what my ogiri looks like. This is what it looks like. Can you see? So the next thing that I'm going to be using to make my soup, those are my seasoning cubes that I'm going to be making use of, and that's my palm oil over there. That's my palm oil over there. And I'm also going to be using pepper. I couldn't lay my hands on fresh yellow pepper, so I'm going to be using this grinded red pepper. That's the pepper I'm going to be using. So right, let's get into the whole process of the cooking. So I've placed my pot on the pan already. I have rinsed and washed my oporoko, my stockfish. So I'm basically just adding that into my pot right now. And the next thing I'm going to be adding in my pot are my proteins, my pre-cooked proteins, my beef, assorted, pomo, shaki, whatever protein it is you like to make use of. Also added some pomo. I added some pomo here. So after adding the pomo, I'm just going to proceed to season with some seasoning cubes. You guys, I'm not the only one that uses seasoning cubes to cook. Oh, there are some seasoning cubes that are just extra hard. Like, they are so hard. That's why I prefer to use, most times I prefer to use those grinded seasoning cubes. Very easy, stress-free. After adding my seasoning cubes, the next thing I'll be adding now is my salt. I'm going to sprinkle some salt, and not forgetting that I'm still going to add my stock water from when I pre-boiled my protein. So this is my stock water. I'm just going to pour that inside also, and I'm going to cover and allow it to cook so the oporoko can cook before we proceed our cooking. After properly cooking our meat together with the oporoko and everything, we're just going to stir everything together to be sure that our oporoko has been properly cooked, and then we are going to proceed to the next step of making the soup, which is to add our palm oil. So we are going to add our palm oil now. Please take note that using a good palm oil is also essential when you are making these soups, because using a bad palm oil is just going to affect the overall taste, the overall taste of the soup at the end of everything. So be careful the kind of oil you use when you are making yours. So after adding my palm oil, the next thing I'm going to be adding now is my ogiri. But before adding my ogiri, I have to prep it first. So I took a little bit out of that container and I added some water to it, and I'm just going to stir everything together until they are evenly combined together. So after they are evenly combined, I'm just going to add that into my pot of boiling soup already, and I'm going to give that a good mix. I'm going to give that a good mix together properly. By now the ogiri seemed to have taken over the whole place. So the next thing I'm going to be adding now is my red pepper. That's my chili pepper, but it is very recommended that you use yellow pepper. It adds to the taste and the aroma of the soup. I couldn't lay my hands on yellow pepper. That was why I had to make use of this, improvise and make use of this red chili pepper. So after adding the chili pepper, I'm going to stir everything together and allow them to incorporate and bring them to a boil. Moving forward, the next thing we are going to add now is our already blended or pounded and cooked cocoyam. So we are going to add that in scoops, just like that. We are going to add that all around the soup in the pot, just like that. We are going to use it to fill up the pot. You don't want to use too much so it doesn't get too thick. So after you finish adding them, you're just going to cover your pot and allow it to boil. You don't stir, you don't mix it inside it. So inside the pot, you just add them just like that, and then you cover and allow it to cook. So guys, we are going to proceed to prep our oha leaf. This is what oha leaf looks like. So I'm just going to pluck some of that. There is a myth that there is a myth that says that I don't know if it's a myth, but it has always been said that you don't use knife to cut oha leaf. That you don't use knife to cut oha leaf. I don't really know the reason behind it, but I'm not an Igbo girl, so I don't really know the reason behind it. But from where I learned it from, I was told that you have to use your hands just like that to cut the leaves. You don't make use of knives to cut your oha leaf. If there is anybody watching this video and can provide me with an answer or a reason as to why they don't use knife in cutting oha leaf, I would really appreciate that. So that was what I did basically for all of the oha leaves. I just plucked them with my hand and then proceeded to cut them with my hand also. So the next thing we are going to do now is to check on our boiling soup, and as you can see, the old cocoyam we added has dissolved. It has dissolved completely, like you cannot see any lump in the soup. It has dissolved completely, and that's a good sign. So after checking for lumps and all of that in the soup, we are now going to add our oha leaf. Don't forget that at the beginning of the video I also mentioned I'll be spicing it up with some uziza leaf. So I've mixed the leaf together, washed them, and I'm just going to sprinkle them now and add it in the soup. So after adding the oha leaf and the uziza leaf into the soup, the next thing now is just to stir everything together and allow it to cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. You don't want it to overcook. And there you go, our oha soup is ready. You guys, my clients really enjoyed this soup that I made. You also be trying this out? Please let me know in the comment section. And if you've watched until this point and you've not subscribed, please kindly like, subscribe, and share, and turn on post notification so you don't get to miss any of my videos when it's dropped. Thanks for watching. Bye.